For sure. Lilith and Muck 45 are here. Welcome, welcome, welcome. What a beautiful day it is. A little groggy. You know how things go with bugs, right? But I digress. We're here this morning. And what are we talking about? Life is a highway. Right? Life is a highway. Because the analogy came to me last night when we were hanging out with Lance, talking about King Solomon. But what makes life a highway? You see, these feelings that we get, hmm? These feelings that we say, I can't. I don't know if I have it in me to go the distance. You know, when we say things like that, you know what that's telling you? Because it's a feedback mechanism. It is feedback. You're doing something, your body's saying, hey, is this what we want? It's a feedback mechanism. Kind of like if you put your hand on your wet hand on a cold glass and it sticks there and it burns you. That's telling you, do you want to do that? Or you put your hand on the stove you didn't know it was on. See the information coming back? What does it tell you to do? When you put your hand on that burner accidentally, what is it telling you to do? Your hand is saying, yikes, and you pull it away. So now, when you're driving through on the highway of life and you begin to feel, I just can't, I've had too much, then you begin to feel that. That is you on the rumble strips. You know, if you take your eyes off the road for a moment and all of a sudden, that's you on the rumble strips. And what's that telling you to do? Get back in your lane. Your emotions, that feedback information is not a whip. Or in the words of Stewie, it's not a whip. It is information telling you to readjust. It's telling you you have taken your eyes off of your lane. You've taken your eyes off of where you say you want to be. So it's telling you, get back on there. You see, allow the information to come through and interpret the information. Do not be manipulated by the information. The information is telling you something. And in that telling, you get to make a choice of what to do. It, like I said, you're going to keep your hand on that burner or you're going to move it and get the aloe. You're going to move it and get the aloe. It's not telling you, dumbass, look at that hot stove and you're just standing here. Look at how bad your life has been. That's not what it's telling you to do. So as we are driving through life, things will arise, of course, because we're not the only ones here. We have neighbors and friends and whomever. So when the information comes to you, interpret the information and act accordingly. For what? Your greatest and highest good. That is what those emotions and feelings are telling you as you are driving through life. Remember that the next time you encounter anything, good, bad, or indifferent. If you're going through the day and it's awesome, you know, you're just getting one quote unquote synchronicity or one coincidence after the other. You clap your hands and you stomp your feet and you do a happy dance and you say, I am in alignment. I am in alignment. That's what you do. This is, you are just simply interpreting the feedback that comes to you. So then if something is a little unsavory, you say, oh, put the brakes on that. And you say, readjust. And you readjust. You'll find that if you begin to practice that, not only will you have more physical energy throughout the day, you'll find you have a much clearer mind. I wonder why that is. Because we're not bogged down with all of this information that we have not interpreted. Because if you don't interpret the information, it piles up. And it's there. because it's bothersome, right? You're like, oh, what's that mean? If you don't know what it means, if you don't know what it means, take a moment, Alan. Take a moment. Just take a moment to interpret the information. When you see the baby going towards that warm oven door, what do? You realign the child. Why? Because it's doing something. There's information coming into you saying, alert, alert, small child approaching stove. It says something to you. Message incoming. For you to do what? Correct the course, correct the trajectory. This is what happens. But we tend to freak out, right? We tend to do that. Well, become an interpreter. Become the emotion whisperer. See it in yourselves and correct yourself. You notice it doesn't say admonish or browbeat or judge or hate. No, it doesn't say to do any of that. This is the beauty of the law. It always shows you, when it's showing you that feedback information, it is shining a light to what? Brighten your pathway so you can see the way forward without injury, without mishap. Tell me, isn't that what we want? Oh, but that's too easy. Again, I keep asking, do we want it to be harder? Do we want it to be more difficult? Well, I sure don't. I want to breeze on through. But that takes the interpretation of the incoming information. And you know a funny thing that we do? We'll go see a body talk specialist and pay them to do what? Listen to your body. Now, how is she going to adequately hear your body when she's not in it? You see, this is what Neville Goddard means when he says we assign power to things outside of us. Turn inward, because that's where the power is. You have the ability to interpret the information. This is why when you memorize the laws, mentalism, correspondence, vibration, polarity, rhythm, causation, gender, when you memorize them, you begin to recognize them. And when you recognize them, you know which one to choose to utilize. And when you utilize the knowledge that you've acquired, you are on your way to wisdom. Wisdom is the effect. Knowledge is the cause. So today, take that time. Take the time to interpret the information. There's no rush. Didn't you hear Confucius? Confucius says, everything gets done, and yet nature doesn't rush. Neville Goddard tells you everything has its appointed time. So as you're driving down the highway of life, the minute you begin to drift off course, the rumble strips are there to ever remind you, hey, stay in your lane. See? It's not judging you. It's telling you something. And when it begins to speak to you and tell you what's happening, you can, I hear you. That's what you do. But again, I understand the overwhelm that happens to us sometimes. I understand the feeling of not having any let up, not having any reprieve, because the pressure is so much. I understand that too. But I also know all you gotta do is pull the law. Like if you're a carpenter and you need a pencil to mark where you are, you pull that pencil from behind your ear. Yeah, pull the law. out of your breast pocket in your little pen collector. Pull it from there and say, what am I going to use today to interpret this information so that I can move forward from where I'm at? There's so much to do, and the next time you see someone with one of those pen collectors in their pocket, you will presume the law is in it, and you'll chuckle to yourself. I better pull the law out of there. This is a beautiful thing we've been given. Think about that for a moment. You no longer have to suffer because, for some reason, allegedly, there's dignity in suffering. No, there's not. There's pain in suffering. We are not designed to suffer. And the only reason why we suffer is because we don't know that thing. We are designed to do what? Have life and have it more abundantly. Like I told him last night with King Solomon. He was 12 and he said, I'm such a wee boy. I just want to know how to do the right thing by these people that I have to oversee. I need some knowledge. So he learned. And he applied what he learned, and thus he became wise. And you know what happened? His wisdom preceded him far and wide. He did not judge himself to say, oh my God, I'm a boy. I'm still in short pants. I can't possibly do anything. He did not do such a thing. I am presuming that he didn't. That is my speculation, because it is law. He clearly saw what he did not have. And then he said, I want this instead. And he didn't hope and pray and wish for it. He said, this is what I want. And so he got up every morning and he practiced what he learned. And because he practiced what he learned, he became wise. So too it is with us. The more we practice, we become wise. And not in a wisdom that browbeats anybody else, but in a wisdom that knows how to maneuver through the situations and changes of life. You see, change is always going to change. But you have to decide whether you will be bamboo or whether you'll be oak, which means you've got to know the discernment. And how do you possibly get discernment? By recognizing the incoming messages from your body. That's how you do it. Listen, your body's talking. Let me hear your body talk. It's talking to you, so listen up. And begin to interpret the information so you know how to act. So you know how to behave. Because once you choose, well, the way you behave is the way you will be treated, which is the law of correspondence, as within, so without. It could also be the law of causation. Because you do this, that happens. Let us take a brief moment to welcome everyone into the space today. Twitter, Ruru, Muck45, Lilith. I see you all. It is good to have you here, the Twitter sphere. Fanbase, who's here, my beautiful darlings? Flo Smiles, Miss McQueen, KZ, Coco Love, Yolanda, Zola. Where is Summer Rose? It is good to see you all here, and thank you for the love and your time. Oh. Sinovia, hello. Queen Murat. Oh, illegally. Oh, honey, we're not illegally listening. The law is. I see you, Queen Murat. And Alan, I see you too. It is so good to see you, Alan. Shea Butter, Anot, Asonia. You see, Alan, Asonia, and I don't see Brian yet, but the room is now filled with Bajans. Anyway, So Asonia, meet Alan, Asonia, and then Brian. When you see Brian, you can say hi to him too. Pigeons, yeah. The better man, I've not seen him yet for the day. Empress Ella, Bree, we'll see. They'll pop in here, I'm sure. Brian. Well, remember today that as you drive through life, pay attention to what is happening. Because those feelings are telling you something. They're telling you, or they're showing you how you're currently behaving. And you know, Neville Goddard says to revise. And a lot of people get hung up on that word, revise, and they don't understand how to use it. When you interpret the information, because somebody asked yesterday, well, what's the difference? Which technique do you use? Do you use the revision technique or that the 3D circumstances don't matter technique? That what you see doesn't matter. And I'm like, you don't choose either, or you have to do them both. Because the 3D, the thing you are experiencing, the effect, the corresponding thing, that thing, polarity will ask you, is this what you want? Right? You'll see that thing, and if it is inappropriate for you, you will revise it. What are you revising? The cause. Right? That's what happens. You're revising based upon how you interpret the incoming information. Right? I'm basically trying to get us to grasp the concept of there's no punishment, there's no reward, not from the law, because it moves according to how you move, or vice versa, or you move according to law. We are governed by law. But the thing that influences is that thing, that persistent thought that you have. If you could see it, what we do, we bend and shape and mold our experiences by way of the persistent thoughts. If we could, it's like Lego, right? This is what it is. That's how we do it, interpreting that information. So when the information comes in, really, all I'm trying to show you is to interpret. You don't have to be a detective to figure it out. There's no case or mystery to solve. But there is an interpretation, and we interpret by way of our perspective. That perspective, you can say, is the habitual way you've always done things, or the program you've always had. And so that's what causes us to act in a particular way. That is your encouragement today. Don't beat yourself up. Because when you, that misery is self-inflicted. And when you do it, it makes things worse. And when you activate that vibration of feeling worse, and it begins to build momentum, because you know us, we tend to ruminate over persistent thoughts. And we start doing that, now we're churning up that water and magnetizing the bad vibration, or the unsavory one, the indifferent one that doesn't serve you, but it still has to work according to law. But we're churning it up and churning it up. Break the monotony of it. You're never going to hear a different message. You're never going to hear a different message. The law once you disrupt the thing that has persistently happened, you'll begin to see the way forward. I promise you that. Those aren't my words, it's not my opinion. The more you practice the law and you disrupt the habitual pattern that you've got and you've been living, you know, the why is this always happening to me? Why can't I seem to change? That pattern. The one that rears its head and tells you, hey, you keep doing this. But you know what we do? We get mad at ourselves for keep doing the same thing. If you don't want to do the same thing anymore, polarity is asking you what you want to do instead. So take the time to answer polarity, and she will show you the steps to get out of your predicament. Because she wants you to be free. Not because she has a personality and feelings, but that is the law. The law does not bind or constrict. Because whom the law sets free is free indeed. Who's the sun? The sun is the what? The projected thought. Why do you call it a sun? Because it comes out of the womb. It is offspring. Don't split hairs and ask why we didn't call it a girl. I'm just using what's in the Bible. You give birth to it by way of the law of gender. It comes out of the womb. Thereby it is your effect. It is your offspring. It is your son. That's why. That is law. So begin today. Begin today to apply it. And let me tell you something. You're not applying it in vain. You're not applying it in vain. Because you know just as well as I do, you reap what you have sown. You know that as fact, not feeling. How do you know it's fact? Fine. You go to the grocery store and you buy mangoes or you buy plantain. Don't you know what somebody planted? Based upon what you just purchased? So the change that you say you want to make, the effect that you're looking to bring about, then the information comes in. If what you are doing is not what you say you want to be doing, then don't beat yourself up. Do what it is you say you want to do, thereby disrupting the rhythm of your persistent behavior. That's what you're doing all day, every day. You have to keep disrupting it. Disrupt the pattern. Did you even know that they made a drug to do that? To disrupt the pattern of hormones? Did you know that? I wonder where they got that idea from. Sounds like law to me. Because our hormones have a rhythm. Oh, you know that they do. Some of us may call it PMS, but it is a rhythm. It's a rhythm. So tell me again, you don't reap what you've sown. So when you're looking at the thing you say you're going to accomplish, it is already done for that one reason. You planted the seed by doing those actions day in and day out. Well, then there is only one outcome, which is the one you chose, the one you said, success it is. I am successful. Well, then begin to behave. I saw a video, this guy, he was talking about, he was going to teach you how to collapse the quantum field. If you want to look at it that way, sure. So I sat and I listened on how to collapse the quantum field. He said, you have to know what it is you want. And I was like, okay, good. Step one. Step two, assume that thing. How does a person having that behave? Begin to behave like that. And then he says, what do they wear? Begin to dress like that and do it every day. And you have collapsed the quantum field. You have taken yourself from where you want to be, from where you are to where you want to be. And I sat there and I said, huh, well, that sounds like polarity to me. Listen, you can dress it up and call it all kinds of fancy names if you want to. You can call it all kinds of fancy names. And he's right. Because that's what you're doing. Remember, I told you we are always molding and shaping our existence. We are always molding and shaping our existence like a potter on the wheel turning his clay. We are always doing it. Right? But if you have to dress it up and make it mystical, well, then let's do that. I'm going to pluck a light strand from here and pluck a light strand from here and one from here, and I will braid them. A 3-stranded braid, or a plait is what you call it. And I will shape it. I'll French braid it. This is what we're doing, molding and shaping our experiences. One persistent thought at a time. So you see, it is to our benefit. David, it is to our benefit to interpret the information and act according. That's what we do. I'm telling you right now, if we build too much momentum in the complaining, we will stay there. I'm not just talking about complaining as in I'm not just talking about that. I'm talking about the beating yourself up part. Give yourself a break. Really, give yourself a break. All this reprimanding the self all the time. Come now. Give yourself a break. Interpret the information and act accordingly. And shoot, when you do that and you see that you were consciously aligned, that something didn't just happen random and willy-nilly to you, because you know there's no randomness. So when you see what you've done, you can do a little dance and say, I did it. That's what you can say. This is forever what we're doing. We are always confirming what is on the inside of us. That's what you're doing. The law of correspondence, you're always reaping what you've sown. That's what we're doing. Always reaping what we've sown. And the only way to know what you have done is to experience it, to see it. Because when you see it, then you will decide if this is adequate or inadequate. Again, like somebody asked the question, how do you know when to let go of something? My response was, when you've had enough. The desire to change has to be stronger than the desire to remain the same. It has to be. That's what will propel you in the direction. It will cause you to polarize yourself in the direction you want to go in. Because you see that burst of energy that you've just said, and you stomped your foot and go, damn it, I'm done with this. And all of a sudden, bam, there was a change. Because you polarized yourself. That burst of energy, that emotional burst of energy was enough to push you in the direction that you wanted to go in. And that's why cold turkey, or that's why you bust out of it after weeks of suffering unnecessarily. So I get it. I understand what it is we deal with on a daily basis. So I'm going to plug it here. If you want to learn how to do that and apply the law effectively and efficiently, sign up for law school. The link is below in my link tree. Because it is one thing to hear about it. It is another to learn it and do it for the self. Right? When one teaches, two learn. Because nobody wants the frustration. Right? We don't want it. So if you don't examine the frustration when it comes, so you can decipher what it is you do want, then you'll keep the frustration. And then you'll be mad because you've kept it, which will make you beat yourself up some more. You see how it spirals? So I'm telling you today, look in that mirror and smile at yourself. Oh, now I know she's done gone and lost it. What do you mean you can't smile at yourself? Who does the smile benefit? You see, it's one of those things. You can't tell who's giving and who's receiving when you smile. If there's more than one of you. But if you smile at yourself in the mirror, what happens to you? Endorphins are released. And what do? Oh, they make you feel better. Oh, yes, they do. Like somebody was thinking about cause and effect. Oh, there's a smile, even if the smile is fake, so long as the corners of the mouth go up. The endorphin is released. Cause and effect. You see, the smile has to ripple through you. This is what it does. Goes all. You ever hear somebody say, "Well, I didn't see the smile in their eyes"? The smile comes. It's like a wave, and it ripples. You see it because it shows on the face, but then the eyes light up because it goes and it pops right at the top of your head. The energy of that smile. So if you think it's weird and awkward to look at yourself in the mirror and smile at yourself, you are shortchanging yourself. You are withholding those beautiful endorphins. From who? Well, not me. From you. Are you not valuable enough to reap the benefits of those endorphins? Well, then you better get in front of that mirror. Release those endorphins. Because if you think about it, epinephrine, norepinephrine, the adrenaline, they tend to stay in the body a little bit longer. But so do the endorphins. They have a lasting effect, Hear it? Effect. What's the cause? Because you want to. I know. Just simply look in that mirror and smile at yourself. You know why? Because we've gotten really good at sitting in the corner and cussing ourselves out. So what's it going to cost you to look yourself in the eyes and smile at you? What's it going to cost you? If you don't do it, it'll cost you a feel-good hormone. And what does anybody ever want is to feel good. That's what you do. This is how we pull ourselves from the depths of anywhere. That's how we do it. Synovia says we smile at everyone else but ourselves. Yeah. And that's how come we end up saying, well, your smile didn't reach your eyes. Because the truth of that smile has to come from the depths of you. Remember, it's like a wave and it rolls. Just like a good belly laugh. That comes all the way up from your toes, man. It really does. Shakes your whole body. It is incredible. It really is. I'm just sitting here thinking about my crazy boy. He has this. What was I doing? I said something a couple of weeks ago, and he thought it was corny. And so he started to rub his feet together, and he goes, and I was like, what is that? He goes, Mom, those are crickets because you're so corny. And I was like, oh, God. So now every time I go somewhere or I hear crickets in a TV show, I have to laugh. Because sometimes he'll catch me off guard and he'll just do it. And it's the cutest noise I've ever heard. But just the reason he thought Mummy was corny. And he says, crickets, Mummy, crickets. And I was like, oh, thanks. Because you're cool, are you? That's what they do. These children humble you. But that's what it is. I put all of those little things in my quiver. Because if ever I catch myself in a spot that's, you know, undesirable, I've got something to pull myself out with. Yes, that's how you do it. That's how you do it. You pull yourself up from where you are emotionally because it'll clear your mind. Clear the mind because then you see the reflection better. You know, I've told you that before. You're jumping in the puddle. You can't see your face in the water. But the minute you stop churning it up, you stop moving, an image begins to take shape. And now you can see what to do. Oh, indeed. So that, my beautiful friends. Oh, Queen Marat says, laughing burns calories too. Oh, it sure does. A good big laugh is awesome. Often. I wonder if that's why we say laughter is the best medicine. I wonder. Well, I may as well try and find out. Right? So that is your encouragement today. Life is a highway. And when you drift to the edge, or you drift from your vision, you drift from your goal, you'll begin to feel certain things, and they will tell you, hey, stay in your lane. That's what they'll tell you. They're giving you information. So, for the love of God and all things, interpret the information and act accordingly. So, you know where you can find me, over on YouTube and Facebook now, to catch the last remnants of gravy from the bowl. And where is Cyber? I know I'll catch Cuddles later for the replay. Countdown initiated. 5, 4, 3. Sign up for law school. Twitter, I see you. Muck45, Jeff, Ruru, Lilith, my beautiful queen. I see you all. Go forth and stay in your lane. Stay the course. And if you should drift into the rumble strips, because you like that sound, get back in your lane. Recover your focus. That is what we do. Much love. Twitter, much love. Twitter is closed. Fan base? I see you. Miss McQueen, Flo, Smiles, KZ, Coco, Love, Yolanda, Zola. I see you all. Thank you for being here. And I don't know if I have a live stream scheduled for today. I don't know. Normally I would, but we'll see. My roster's a little full. I got some recording to get done. But I will see you soon, fanbase. Much love to you. Yay! Fanbase is closed. Now, let's pop into the chat here on YouTube. It was just you and I now. It's good to see you all. Remember to like the video. So there, Beauty Queen Onika, Synovia Queen Marat, David, the better man, A not, Sonia, Alan, Shea Butter. It is good. It is very good to spend time with you all. Zola, But pay attention to what's being said when you encounter things like, because remember, we we feel overwhelmed by doubt sometimes, or worry, or fretting. But what is it telling you? It's telling you that you're going in the opposite direction. You're going in the direction that you don't want to go in. That's why it feels that way. When you start going in the direction you want to go in, is when we begin to get the relief. But we just disrupt the habit, disrupt the way you've always done things, because that's the way I've always done it. I don't see why I should change. You should change because you say you want to change. Much love, Queen. Much love, Queen Morant. But that's what I'm saying to you. I got a message last night and she said, Angela, I just wanted to encourage you. Keep doing what you're doing. Every morning, your morning inspiration hits me. Listen, when you start to apply the law and you begin to see that you're doing it, do you know how confident that makes you feel? See how confident that makes you feel to know that, oh, I've got this in the bag. I can do this. And you feel confident, and when you exercise the law, you exercise from a self-concept of where? Confidence. I've got confidence. I forget how the rest of it goes. No matter what the case may be. I got confidence. I know he's gonna fix it for me. All the bitches in the space. Joseph Niles. Right? The law. David, explain what you said in the previous show, how if we don't learn how to use the law, we will come back into this world. Ooh, yes. Remember, Neville says, when we relinquish our bodies from here, we go on to another place. Just like this one. A lot of that has to do with vibration. Because if you think about it, I know some people will say, oh, I don't believe in reincarnation. If your energy, your life force, the thing behind your eyes, the thing that you don't see when you're looking at that body, right? In the coffin, that thing that's missing. When we say, oh my God, George is gone. We say that. What's gone? Because George's body is clearly before you. So what's gone? George, the essence of George, is gone. Where? Whatever vibration you are is where you go. It is law. As within, so without. This is how cohesion happens. The light waves that match in frequency come together to take shape. So wherever that vibration is that you leave off at, right here, right now, is where you end up. Because that energy, it's not crushed to anything. You can't destroy it. It is energy, pure, raw energy. The stuff that animates the physical form. It can't be destroyed. It just takes a different form. But how does it know which form to take? By way of the vibration that you're at when you relinquish the physical form that you're in right now. That is the law of correspondence. That's how, if you don't learn to use the law to your benefit, to raise your vibration. Think about this. The more adept you become at using, or proficient you become at using the law, you don't remain the same. You are molding and shaping yourself. And to mold and shape yourself, the vibration changes because everything moves. Nothing stands still. So the rate at which you are moving is the rate at which you will be in contact with. This is why we hear things like birds of a feather flock together. And so wherever the vibration is, that's where we, what's the word? We converge with it. Whatever that vibration is that matches. Like-minded people. That's what we're learning to do. Exercising the law. You have to exercise the law. It doesn't matter whether you are Draconian, Pleiadian, Anunnakian. It doesn't matter what you are. They're governed by law too. They are governed by law just as we are. So they know the law and they're using it. The only ones who don't know the law, well, so far that I'm aware of, is us. And that is my speculation. This is why they are, you know how they say, you have ascended masters and blah, blah, blah. It's the vibration. And if we learn how to apply the law, it doesn't, think about what we've said as well. Those effects, the effect of using the law is far reaching. How do you know it is far reaching? Because you do know that it is. We call them generational curses. It comes down through the generations. So if it can come down through the generations from people you and I have never met and who we have yet to meet, well, then it tells you that the choices you make, the causes, the effects are far reaching. David, does that answer your question? The effects are far, far reaching, even beyond what we can comprehend at the moment. You know it. Simply because of how we do generation after generation after generation. That's how you know your effects are far reaching. The evidence is right there. So I trust that makes sense today. But remember, though, interpret the information so that we can act accordingly. Right? No worries, David. You're welcome. But that's what it is. That's totally what it is. Take pleasure in that. Take pleasure in it. It's like when you go out into the world, there's so many people that are heavy laden. What does that scripture say? Come to me, all who are weary and heavy laden, and I will give you rest. Yeah? Come to me, all who are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. This is what the law is saying. That is scripture. This is what the law is saying. So if today you feel burdened by anything, do you remember polarity and what it says? Let me remind you. And if you know what polarity says, say it. Polarity says, where are you now and what are you doing? Write those answers down. I am dot dot dot. I'm doing this, I'm doing this, I'm doing this, and I'm doing this. And then polarity on the other side of the page says, where do you want to go? Or where do you want to end up? Or what do you want to be doing? So you say, I am, and you write it down. You're not going. You've already gone the minute you write it down. So where did you go? You took yourself from where you were to where you wanted to go. So where did you want to go? You say, I am, present tense. I'm here now. And I'm doing this, and this. You write it down. And when you get up in the morning, which part of that page are you going to look at? Which part of that page are you going to rewrite? I am doing blah, 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 dot, dot, dot. You write down all the actions that you're doing. And as the person so eloquently said, collapsing the quantum field. You're using the law. You're taking yourself from where you are to where you want to be. That's what you're doing. So if you feel like you're stuck, remember the law of causation. Every cause has its effect. Every effect has its cause. I want you to see it and hear it. Every cause has its effect. You do this, that happens. But after you do that, after you do the that, you do this, that happens. So when you do that happens, you've just created another cause. Because every effect has a cause. So what does the law tell you? The law tells you every cause has its effect, every effect its cause, because everything is moving. So that's how you know you're not stuck. Yes, David. And the reason why different ways of explaining things is because a different set of eyes and a different set of senses have experienced just one thing. You see, and this is why I stress all the time, there's no duality. There is only one. If we could see that there's only one, we know that there is only one thing. You just said it there, David. Many ways. My father always said all roads lead to home. Many ways of explaining the same thing, because each person experiences these things, the one thing, through their own senses. That's why there's none but the self, the one, the self. There is only one. Many ways of doing one thing. This is what it is. So be encouraged to know everything's gonna be all right. Everything's gonna be all right. Yeah, everything is gonna be all right. Now remember, words don't return void, do they? And you know how when you listen to Bob Marley, if you like that sort of thing, and you begin to sing those words, and you feel that vibration in your chest as you sing the words, and you bob your head and you say, one love, one heart, let's get together and feel alright. Whoa, 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 whoa. This, when you start to sing it, when you start to feel the vibration in your body, how does it make you feel? Do you know what you've just done? You've just raised your vibration. You've just shined your light a little brighter. And when you shine that light a little brighter, you see the pathway straight ahead. And now, anytime you catch yourself in the presence of an undesirable thing that you are doing, you won't judge it. But you will see it and you say, everything is going to be all right. And as soon as you start to feel that, you've changed. You've put yourself back on track, back in the trajectory of where you say you wanted to go. And what did you do? You used the law of rhythm to do it. Why? Because when you used the rhythm, it caused you to become polarized. Where? In a feel-good area. Because then you changed your vibration. And so then because you changed your vibration, now something else was within you, and now you have to see it on the outside of your correspondence. And why? What did you ultimately do? You went back into the reservoir of your memory, and you pulled forth a song that was jubilant. The universe is a mental creation. You have used the higher law against the lower law every time. Not because one is higher or lower, but just one precedes the other. They unfold. See what you've done? That's what I'm trying to tell you that you have the capability of doing. But you've got to do it. Do that to me one more time. You got to do it. One more time, you got to do it. And we build our confidence. And now, the one wielding the law is confident, your self-concept. And do you know what happens to you from there? Nothing is withheld from you. How can it be? When you, my beautiful friend, that vibration that you have can only bring towards it what? Other things that match it. So you see, abundance is yours by way of what? Law. That's what it is. So, anyway, that's all I've got to tell you today, my beautiful friends. Apply. Apply the law. What's Neville say? What does scripture say? Don't just be a hearer of the word. Be a doer. It says faith comes by hearing. Wisdom comes by applying. Yeah, Sherelle. Faith comes by hearing. And how many times you got to hear it? Oh, Lord. Enough times. 70 times 7, allegedly. You got to hear it a lot. But the more you hear it, the more you are emboldened to apply it. And when you apply it, you begin to see who you are. I love you all. I truly do. Yes. And I always look forward to hearing your testimonies. We're about due for one of those, aren't we? We're due for a testimony live stream. Y'all are incredible. All right. Much love. 2, 1. You know you can slide into my DMs if you have any questions, comments, or concerns. Like, share, subscribe. Sign up for law school. Everything is in the description below in the link tree. And just know that the law is ever before us. So let us use it boldly. Much love.